Welcome to Learning Lovecraft with Ken James and Jason McKittrick, brought to you by Cryptocurium.
The word was supposed to represent a fumbling human attempt to catch the phonetics of an absolutely non-human word. The name of the hellish entity was invented by beings whose vocal organs were not like man's. The syllables were determined by a physiological equipment wholly unlike ours, hence could never be uttered perfectly by human throats. The actual sound, as nearly as human organs could imitate it, could be taken something as Cthulhu.
Good evening and welcome to a very special episode of Learning Lovecraft. I'm your host, Jason McKittrick, and joining me, as always, the traveler of the Eldritch Path, Mr. Ken James.
Good evening, folks.
And tonight we embark on what is perhaps H.P. Lovecraft's most iconic and far-reaching tale, the Call of Cthulhu. This episode, we're covering Part 1, The Horror in Clay, where we begin the descent into madness, dreams, and a god that sleeps beneath the waves.
Yeah, and like I like to do with the beginnings of episodes, I get it. I get it now. I read all three stories, one after, or parts of it, one after the other, and I get what we've been doing here. I get what Howard's was dipping his toes into to finally be able to hop into the deep end and do a nice backstroke.
Exactly.
I understand where we went with these stories of the Lord Dunsany stuff and dream cycles. I understand why we've talked about different weird groups of people before. I understand why we've talked about strange cults and strange things happening, because it's all here and it's all the influence of Cthulhu.
Yeah, it's certainly coalesced in this story, doesn't it?
Right.
All those elements that he kind of brought forth in these other stories, it kind of comes together here. And, this is kind of where he's going to reference quite a bit going forward. But this was the big story. This is the one where, you think of authors and their most famous characters. You have Bram Stoker, you got Dracula. Charles Dickens, you got Ebenezer Scrooge. Herman Melville, Moby Dick. Dr. Seuss, The Cat in the Hat. And and H.P. Lovecraft and Cthulhu.
Arguably the Grinch.
Well, sure.
Arguably.
At this point, I guess.
Yeah, right.
Or, like Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and Sherlock Holmes.
The Combs, yeah.
You got all those characters. But I should ask before we dive into all this fun stuff that we're going to get to. Before you read this story and before we started doing the Lovecraft stuff, if you can remember, what was your experience of, or even range of knowledge on what Cthulhu was?
I would see stuff you did, and I'd go to your place, and I'd be like, oh, there's that fucking fish-faced tentacle having thing, but he's cool. I don't know. And then the South Park episode, and then the Real Ghostbusters cartoon.
Right. Because it's, even if you don't know who H.P. Lovecraft is, most people, if you say Cthulhu, they're like, oh yeah, isn't that like green tentacle guy or something?
Yeah.
And it's interesting to me how you get from that, and now here we are. We've gone through how many stories, and now we're finally at the story where this comes from.
And nothing like I thought it was going to be. Right. To be honest with you, having so many ideas of how the story was going to be leading up to it. Yeah. I held my own maybe there's gonna what are we gonna get? And reading it, I was like, this is completely different than what I imagined. And it's I'm into it totally.
Yeah.
But it's a little sobering because you expect. I don't know what I was expecting. I don't know what I was expecting. But this is it's weird. Very weird, the story.
That's what he was going for. And there's a lot of, we'll go over it as we cover the full story, but there's a lot of implications that are put forth. This expands the entire world. This essentially creates the world of the Cthulhu mythos.
Right.
I mean, we've had previous stories, right? We had Dagon, we had the Hound, we had the festival. You have these things that kind of exist in this mythos world, but this kind of puts, establishes the king in the castle kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's like, Cthulhu. Now, don't get me wrong, there are other entities as well. We've sort of encountered Nyarlathotep. We will again. But there's other entities, but Cthulhu kind of starts the whole thing. Now we have this idea, and we'll get to it when we get to the descriptions. But we have the idea of this ancient, unknowable, ageless intelligence that has been here before mankind. And now you get
also like has like a foot in our realm,
yes, and we'll get to that because there's parts of the story that get to this day, even with people who are Lovecraft fans, that completely misunderstand sections of the story. So we're gonna get to it.
I believe I have as well.
Hey, maybe you have it. Maybe you got it down dead to rights.
I don't think so.
We'll see.
We'll see though.
It's a little bit on the background of this monumental tale because it deserves it. So H.P. Lovecraft wrote The Call of Cthulhu in the summer of 1926. Now, this is shortly after returning to his native Providence, Rhode Island. We talked about this in the previous episodes, but just to reiterate a little bit, this was after his turbulent 2-year stay in New York City. Once again, during his time in New York, Lovecraft experienced deep personal dissatisfaction, social isolation, and economic hardship.
He hated it.
Oh my God, gave us some cool stories, but he hated it.
It's like, now I hate New York for him even more.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of New York to begin with. But
I wasn't
sorry,
either,
New Yorkers, sorry.
Now I'm just like, dude, this place, what did it do?
Yeah. Well, it helped him. Hey, without New York, I don't know if we would get The Call of Cthulhu.
Right, and I understand it in the way of like how Ex-Girlfriends inspired some of the best music, but like what I'm saying is like, I hate the girlfriend that guy sang about. You know what I mean?
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I hear you. So these factors, combined with this, I guess, like this enduring sense of cosmic pessimism. This is where we start to really get this, where that, like, it really solidifies in this story, like something, so the pressure made some diamonds, what I mean?
Right.
So, and this really started to inform much of the tone and philosophy in this story. Like, he's coming back from New York, a different person. I don't know if you want to call it, it's not a coming of age. It's more of a shift in philosophy, almost. Like, he's really clamped down on the negative and pessimistic sides of things, and this is going to inform his fiction going forward for a while at least.
Yeah, it's almost like a kind of a metaphor for this was here all along. You know what I mean? Like,
yes,
like even the old ones and the things that are out there, like they were there all along, as well as how I actually felt the world was. But like now it's like confirmed, and here it is for everyone to hear, read.
Right. It's almost as though it's like everyone who thinks that, life and the world and everything about it is positive and beautiful, they just have their eyes blind to the fact that there's just this unknowable, horrible thing slumbering somewhere that at a moment's notice might come back to life and destroy us all.
It's like it's the bad is down there, and it's just a matter of time if it's going to show itself.
And we're just insects. Like, we're beneath contempt. They don't even notice us. They don't even. It's just we're nothing.
Yeah, it might deem humanity too sick to survive, and just
those are very Lovecraftian concepts that were pulled by someone who was a big fan of Lovecraft.
Yeah.
So we're talking about Ghostbusters again, guys. Sorry.
Yeah, we're never not guys. We're never not going to talk about it.
It's true. We're never not going to talk about Ghostbusters. If you think we're talking about Lovecraft, we're actually talking about Ghostbusters. About Lovecraft.
Yeah, this is a Ghostbusters podcast. That's all it's been.
Hey, to be honest, a little bit about me and Ken. We got matching Ghostbusters tattoos years ago,
and we're in love.
Yeah, sure, but Lovecraft, Ghostbusters was the door to Lovecraft. I mean, we discussed this, and I'm not going to stay on it too long, but it's the door to it, and it really kind of like was the primer. But so Lovecraft completed this manuscript in August or early September of 1926. And like we said, the story marks a turning point in his career. It was his most ambitious and structured attempt to articulate what would be later termed cosmic horror. Like, this is where it starts to really happen. Like I said, this is where it coalesced. And he's not the founder because it's disputed, but he's certainly he's a pioneer of it. And if you ask anyone, cosmic horror, what author do you think of? It's always going to be H.P. Lovecraft. I mean, there's Robert Chambers had a part of it, and there's a few other authors, but we'll go into that probably later.
Yeah.
In it, Lovecraft formally introduced the character of the big man, Cthulhu, right? And as we heard at the top, we had Lovecraft talking about the pronunciation of that creature, which, by the way, if you haven't seen, that's from a movie called Out of Mind, The Stories of H.P. Lovecraft. You should go watch that if you've never seen it. It's on YouTube. The guy who plays Lovecraft is perfection. Perfection. Anyway, so Cthulhu, this sleeping godlike being whose very existence, just that he's there, threatens human sanity, which is another thing. It's not just that he's going to kill you; it's just he can affect you before he's even or like near you. So this tale laid the foundation of what fans and scholars now refer to as the Cthulhu mythos. All right, this is where it's kind of firmly laid out. Though Lovecraft himself actually never used that term; that was a later thing.
Okay.
So he actually called it in his letters Yog-Sothoth, which is later on. Well, it's Yog-Sothoth. It's his main entity, which we will get to soon.
I'm just saying. I'm like, okay, dude, whatever you want to call it.
No, it's This is such deep nerd shit, and with all due respect, because I am one. Yeah. But this is like such deep nerd shit that it's just like you have to like wade through it with like a pick and a comb. It's like, what is this now?
Another thing too, I expected the story and the parts to be way longer.
See, that's the interesting thing, and we can talk about that now. His language in these three short things have ignited so many people's imagination in just these three small parts that it really is, it's mystifying.
See, that's why I'm kind of weird about it too, because when I text you and you're like, and I'm like,
we'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. Because I said, no, I dig it. I just don't want to be like, oh, this is a banger or this is straight fire. This is, I know there's layers, and I know I'm going to find more and more the more I read it. You go back, it's one of those things.
Yeah.
And but I was just shocked because I think Reanimator's longer than this.
Yes.
You know.
Well, I think that it's certainly so. When he was writing Reanimator, I think he was still in that form of like, well, you gotta write in the long form because that makes it gives it more respect. And also, he was writing it as a serialized piece for periodical. So like he was like probably encouraged to make it a little bit longer in the way that it was. But this one, I think maybe he forced himself to be a little more concise because the language is not as flowery in this one.
Yeah.
But the words and the combination of words and the combination of those words into sentences, into paragraphs, really paint these pictures, especially later on in the story. And you know.
Well, also too, like at this point, he's kind of like, this story is just the foundation of everything else that's going to be about this, I guess. You know what I mean? So at this point, it could kind of be like, I don't know if he had that in his head.
I don't think so.
But yes, it's cool to pretend that's
well, no, but what you touched on earlier makes a lot of sense, and I'm glad that you picked up on. You can see now that you've gone through these stories, you see how we got here. And it's like, okay, I see what he's getting here. I can see why he took these elements and turned it into this. I'll give you a spoiler, even though you don't want spoilers. Cthulhu really doesn't show up again, really. There's some mentions, but he's that ever present threat.
Okay.
So we will see him again, but he's not this.
He's like the Blair Witch.
Kind of. Yeah, he's exactly like the Blair Witch.
He's just looming. He's
always looming, and it's almost in the way that in the story too, because like we see the effects of Cthulhu way before we ever see him. Right. And it's like
artists start having
what's
up with the artists and the
artists and the psychically sensitive. I mean, he's he affects these certain people, and this has implications about other things like in our past, but we'll get to it when we get to the points because we're taking the story as it comes. So real quick, the story was first published in Weird Tales in its February 1928 issue. Though it did not receive significant recognition at the time, of course, the Call of Cthulhu has since become Lovecraft's most influential and iconic work. It has inspired generations of horror writers, filmmakers, game designers, artists, and remains the cornerstone of modern cosmic horror. It's where you go when you want to know where did this all really start. You come to this story. That might arguably there might be other stories as well, but this is the one where you say, hey, where should I see where this came from? You come here. And then at the time of the writing of the story, Lovecraft now was living a solitary life with his two aunts, who had recently just separated from his wife Sonia Green, who we mentioned in previous episodes.
I'm totally starting to feel too now that you brought it up too about him like coming back and like the underlying things. It was very depressing the whole time, and I was trying to remember. I said it's like mood. You know, I was like there's something else about this.
Yes.
And now I'm kind of feeling why like I had like a little bitterness in my mouth when I was reading it, if that makes sense. And I was like, okay, all right.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's from the person writing this, there's something of a, you know, wouldn't it be great if something did exist that just could just get up and just smash all of us, or just blink us out of existence, whatever he can do. You certainly see his pessimism coming through. You know, also during this period, he was poor, often in ill health, and, you know, really struggling, which he did the rest of his life to gain critical recognition. But his creative output during this period was very prolific, and that's usually, you know, you always hear that story, right? It's like, oh, dude was living on, you know, cans of beans, but he was producing some of the greatest fiction, you know, in the century. And it's like, okay, shows how we value artists in this country. But you know. All right, so I think it's time to finally dive into it, Ken. I think
let's go.
Yeah, let's do it. So at the beginning of the story, before we get to this fun quote, we get a little aside here about found among the papers of the late Francis Wayland Thurston of Boston. And you got to love the implications of that. It's HP's playing with that verisimilitude, right? He's like, is this real? Did he, you know, like, I love that.
Yeah.
Like, just that little bit. It's like, well, what? Really?
Yeah,
so,
and I was also almost immediately confused about who's telling the story at this point.
Yes,
you know?
It is nested, and the names are so stuffy New England names, and it's just, I share your confusion. Probably the first time that I read it too, it's like, wait, so Wayland wrote this, but who's the guy? What?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm like, okay, so we're going over the one guy's notes, but it's his nephew telling us about his uncle, who I was like, you know, I was Charlie Day in front of the...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, yes, the papers... this person is telling us the story. He is the guy overall telling us the story. He got the papers and stuff of his uncle, which is the professor George Gamble Angel, but we'll get there in a minute.
Right.
So after that, we have this fun quote by Algernon Blackwood, and he tells us that of such great horrors or beings that may be conceivably a survival of a hugely remote period when consciousness was manifested, perhaps in shapes and forms long since withdrawn before the tide of advancing humanity. Forms of which poetry and legend alone have caught a flying memory and called them gods, monsters, mythical beings of all sorts and kinds. Now, that kind of encapsulates the story a little bit for you, you know, having read the whole thing. And Algernon Blackwood was the original author of The Wendigo. Right.
Did he write The Kit Bag, too?
Yes. And also he wrote H.P. Lovecraft's favorite weird tale, The Willows, which... Okay. You know, we'll discuss that probably when we get to supernatural horror and literature.
The way you said The Willows reminded me of So I Married an Axe, Murder of the Dead.
Yes. The Meadows.
Yeah, The Meadows. The Willows.
Yep. At a secret location called The Meadows. Isn't that Las Vegas? Doesn't Las Vegas mean The Meadows?
I think so.
Right? I love that movie.
It's so good.
It is. So we get that. That kind of gives us like a framing device. And then... Howard hits us with this unbelievable paragraph.
The most merciful thing in the world, I think, is the inability of the human mind to correlate all its contents. We live on a placid island of ignorance in the midst of black seas of infinity, and it was not meant that we should voyage far. The sciences, each straining in its own direction, have hitherto harmed us little. But someday the piecing together of dissociated knowledge will open up such terrifying vistas of reality and of our frightful position therein, that we shall either go mad from the revelation or flee from the deadly light into the peace and safety of a new dark age.
Now, this quote here, you know the point in the roller coaster, there's the part where you get strapped in, you're really excited, even if you've been on a roller coaster a million times. Get strapped in, you start climbing, right? Not at the very edge. Not when you're at the very edge. But when you're about to summit, like right about there, you have that moment of like, oh wait, shit. You know, like
I shouldn't be here.
Yeah, I shouldn't be here. That was what that quote was. I was like, Yeah, we're gonna get into some stuff here, and I knew it. And it's like I've been to these stories. I know these stories. I like these stories, but it was just like we're gonna peel some stuff and get into some very uncomfortable territories.
Yes. This honestly, this is one of his greatest paragraphs in my opinion.
Right.
It squarely puts us into where we belong as far as the Cthulhu mythos goes. Where we belong in this whole I don't know, cosmology of the vast cosmos, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, us not being able to correlate all the things that we take into our mind, that's the only mercy in the universe. That hey, we don't figure it out. We take it all in, but we never correlate. We never put it together. But one person does in this story through all these disparate elements, and and possibly the uncle probably figured it out too, that we're nothing, and that there's this thing out there, and the existence of this thing kind of just completely destroys our entire idea of who we are.
Right, and it kind of goes.
We are.
It kind of goes back to, From Beyond, and I forget what the other one is. Once you can see them, they can see you.
Yes.
So, like, figuring out what it is and what is out there, knowing too much, now it kind of knows too much about you and can come to destroy you.
There's really no going back once you get to this point. I think that's what it is. Because anyone in this story who gets to this point, or anyone who, I should say story, but anyone in this, I don't know, want to call it world or whatever, it's there is no going back. They
pistol or no pistol.
Pistol, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Once your eyes have been opened, there's no going back, and most people lose their minds because there's a knowledge there that we're not meant to know. And he even says it there. We were not meant to voyage far. We exist in these, black seas of infinity. It's like, oh man, yeah, we do. And it just tells you right away, we're just this speck of sand in this black sea of nothingness. And it's like, oh my God. And amongst that, there's these things here that are, or things or whatever, these intelligences, and we can't even comprehend them really.
Yeah, it goes back to me and you sitting at that diner like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
When I had to go step outside and change.
What's funny is that we were talking about Cthulhu and you didn't even know it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Because Cthulhu is the representation of that threat, that cosmic threat. And the threat is just that it's nothing. It's just big nothing. That's outside of the actual story with these characters. It's just ugh.
Yeah.
So yeah, we get to this point, and this is a great paragraph because this puts us right in there, and it's just like this knowledge is so horrifying, so terrifying, so it gets to the bottom of our humanity that we're just going to look to go back to the ignorance. We're going to be Cypher from the Matrix. So you know what, ignorance is bliss. He's like, I know this steak is fake, but if I've learned anything, it's ignorance is bliss, and it's kind of the same sentiment. So,
I get it.
Yeah, no, I'm just enjoying it because I really, A, I love that paragraph, and B, we've gone through some stories that I don't like.
Right. And I'm not saying, I'm saying, like, I get it. I'm not saying it to you. Stop talking about it. It's just boy, oh boy, if I could, if things that I've learned,
Yeah.
I wish I could just be one of these people that when you turn on the new music radio station, the new songs are pretty good. Or, new Marvel movies are it's a great movie.
Yeah, you want to be the guys on the ship in WALL-E.
I would love to be in the chair and just no, it's not that I want to be them. I want to be comfortable being that.
They have complete. They're utter complicit. Involvement in the society, and just letting them be in charge of their destiny from top to bottom just gives them this peace. Yeah, you're not going to have that amazing, examined life that the great philosophers talk about, but they're safe and it's peaceful, and they know that anything outside of there is ugh.
And that's what this story so far, it reminded me that about myself. I wish that I didn't have the curiosities of things that I did, or I wish I could just take something and not over I don't want to say overanalyze, but overanalyze and
Sure.
over question. And I wish I could just go like I said, like watch a movie and not be like, this sucks because of this and this. Like I wish I could just go into things and being like, I had a really good time, but I can't. I'm always, and my wife, God bless her, she loves me, but like we'll be in the middle of something and I'm like, you know what's ridiculous about this?
Oh, I do the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm saying I wish I could just be like, and that's why me and you wouldn't survive this.
No, it just happened today. We're sitting here because we had, Christina and I are working, and we had we put nonsense on, so it's not like, it doesn't get in the way of the work. So we had like Zack Snyder's Justice League on, and I'm like, you know why this movie is a piece of shit, and you know why Zack Snyder is a fucking moron? She's like, could you just not? I'm like, all right, sorry.
Yeah, you're right.
You're right. I was like, you know what? I don't care. I'm gonna go back to what I was doing.
When you do care, the whole you just start practicing it in your head.
I'm like,
I
break the pencil tip as I'm trying to do what I'm fucking.
It's like me, myself, and Irene. He's like, I talked to the guy. A little rap on the side.
Yep.
Here are the sodas, and the next day he comes back, and the guy, the dude, got thrown into the machine.
So begins here the narrator. All right, to dispel confusion. The narrator is Francis Wayland Thurston. Okay, and he has this terrifying thesis about the nature of human ignorance. Right, we dwell on a placid island of ignorance in the midst of black seas of infinity. That's wonderful. I love it. That's like hell yeah. That gets a Wendigo riff. That's just and the whole sentiment of it. It was not meant that we should venture far. We have a little spark of something in us, but it's like, but you can't go the rest of the way. So I'm sorry that you get these glimpses of these great things, but you as this rudimentary being that is a human being, you can't get it all. So sorry that you get a little glimpse of how amazing or terrifying everything else is, but you're not meant to go past this part. So
this isn't for you.
Yeah, hey buddy, a lot of guys' girlfriends.
Your friends are just said that yesterday. Wee. All right.
You don't get the backstage pass. You can kind of get a glimmer of it. You get a glimpse of what's going on back there, and just that little glimpse is going to terrify it and madden you. But that's it. That's all you get.
Hey, you're meant to have this torture you forever. So
yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
Go back to work.
Yeah.
But like I'm saying, sometimes the curious and the unfortunate do get to go a little bit farther, and they get a little glimpse, and that's kind of what happens to our buddy here and some other characters that are in this story as well. So what follows, he tells us, is his attempt to rationalize a nightmare that unfolded from mere chance, right? It's this accidental connection of an old newspaper clipping and the strange notes of his deceased great uncle. That's Professor George Gamble Angel. Okay, he's the guy who assembled all the stuff that's in that box. Okay. And he was the professor emeritus, which means he was retired, of Semitic languages at Brown University. What a guy.
Yeah.
And Howard gives us this great passage to kind of lay it out for us.
My knowledge of the thing began in the winter of 1926-27 with the death of my grand uncle, George Gamble Angel, professor emeritus of Semitic languages in Brown University, Providence, Rhode Island. Professor Angel was widely known as an authority on ancient inscriptions and had frequently been resorted to by the heads of prominent museums, so that his passing at the age of 92 may be recalled by many. Locally, interest was intensified by the obscurity of the cause of death. The professor had been stricken whilst returning from the Newport boat, falling suddenly, as witnesses said, after having been jostled by a nautical-looking Negro who had come from one of the queer dark courts on the precipitous hillside, which formed a shortcut from the waterfront to the deceased's home in William Street. Physicians were unable to find any visible disorder, but concluded after perplexed debate that some obscure lesion of the heart, induced by the brisk ascent of so steep a hill by so elderly a man, was responsible for the end. At the time I saw no reason to dissent from this dictum, but latterly I am inclined to wonder and more than wonder.
So, kind of looks like we're looking at some foul play a little bit.
Yeah, it looks like someone might have pushed Homeboy.
Yeah, pushed him or something. Maybe he stuck him with something, with some kind of Cthulhu poison or something.
Yeah, some kind of Cthulhu poison.
Yeah, I don't know. But, he's old. He was very old, so they don't really scratch their heads too much because 92 years old.
He might have said something.
Maybe.
You know what I'm saying?
It's
old man.
It's possible. I mean, we get some colorful. It's not even that colorful of language in this paragraph. I mean, that was common parlance at the time. He doesn't use any slurs, but oh, Howard. But so Professor Angel had died suddenly while returning from the waterfront in Providence. All right. Witnesses say he collapsed after being jostled by this nautical-looking gentleman, emerging from one of these dark, narrow courts that kind of climbed the hill by the docks. And the doctors are just unable to explain it, but they say, he's old, 92, heart condition. It's not that much of a. It's not a big deal. This probably isn't weird. Happened. There's nothing weird about this. There's not a conspiracy. This is not a conspiracy.
Yeah.
And when they say it's not a conspiracy,
it is.
It is a conspiracy.
Yes, it is.
So as his heir, Thurston, who is telling us the tale, was tasked with sorting through the professor's papers. Most of it's just your typical academic stuff, harmless, dry, all this stuff that maybe he was going to publish. It's nonsense.
I finished the mutton and all I got was his T-shirt.
Yeah, totally. And then he just has like scribbling about stuff, probably lesson plans and all this kind of stuff, or whatever that would be found in a New England, professor's home.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But there's this one locked box that gives him pause.
Pause indeed.
Yeah. So he finds the key to it, which was on his personal ring the professor had of his keys. And he opens the box and he finds some strange things inside.
Yeah, right? One of which I was like, Jay sculpted that. I was like, yeah, there it is.
I have several times.
Exactly. I was like, I've seen this a lot.
Yes. So he has this bizarre clay, what's known as a bas-relief. A bas-relief is like... it's just like a flat relief sculpture, like maybe like a coin or like something on a wall. It's not full where the figures are like in full sculpted, but it's just like a flat a coin or a plaque would be the best way to describe it. That's a bas relief. And among them, there's also these weird notes that really don't correlate with like the other notes they found. Mm-hmm. There's something strange about the quality of these notes.
Something strange in the neighborhood.
Seriously. There's occult references, which is way out of the box for him. And most disturbingly, a document marked Cthulhu cult.
Yeah. I was like, I want to know more about that, please.
Yes, sir. So the centerpiece of this little archive was this clay bas-relief. Thurston describes it well, and we'll let Howard take this.
The bas-relief was a rough rectangle less than an inch thick and about 5 by 6 inches in area, obviously of modern origin. Its designs, however, were far from modern in atmosphere and suggestion. For although the vagaries of cubism and futurism are many and wild, they do not often reproduce that cryptic regularity which lurks in prehistoric writing. And writing of some kind, the bulk of these designs seemed certainly to be, though my memory, despite much familiarity with the papers and collections of my uncle, failed in any way to identify this particular species, or even to hint at its remotest affiliations.
Yeah, so at that point, it starts talking about different terms in art and stuff that I was just like, just shut up. just wait, just shut up.
Well, it would have been prescient for this time. I mean, he's talking about cubism. That's
absolutely. I was going to say, shut up and wait till I get to Jay and let him explain this stuff to me. Because I need someone with concepts. I need an explanation from someone who knows what they're talking about.
Sure. So at this time, there was, there's quite a revolution going on in the world of art. Picasso and Georges Braque would have been discovering cubism, which at that time was, to someone like Howard, who loved these, very classical styles of things, would have probably been pretty horrific.
Is that when you draw the 3D cube?
No.
No.
No, that's just 2-point perspective.
Oh. Wonderful.
No. Cubism is where they try to take a subject and break it up into multiple views while looking at the same time. So if you were to look at Picasso Cubism, you'll see these weird pictures where, like, you'll see the face, but then you'll also see the hand, and the ear will be on this side, and you'll see another ear like this. It's a classic Picasso kind of style. He did a lot of still lifes that way. At the time was a very revolutionary thing. It was basically a new way to look at things that this guy had kind of come up with.
Okay.
So he's saying here that although there was the vagaries of cubism and futurism was somewhat related, it was more of these new ways to look at things. That's artists of this period, and I guess throughout history, are always looking for a new way to look at things, a new lens by which to look through things.
Okay.
And he's saying that even though we have these crazy things right now, cubism, futurism, you can look at them and say, okay, this was created recently, though. It's weird. It's outside of our, realm of what we know, but it's still like, okay, a guy made this within the last few years, but it's weird, but okay. They never get close to some of those things that you see when you see an ancient piece of art. There's something cryptic and weird and removed when you see, like, let's say you look at those cave paintings in Lascaux, France, of those bison and those antelope and those lions.
Yeah.
You look at those and you look at them long enough, they start to creep you out, because then you start looking at it like, wait, how old are these? And then it's like, yeah, humans made this, but like a very old human made these.
Yeah.
And there's something about, like he says, the cryptic regularity about the marks and the mark making in these writings and drawings that kind of there's an alienness to them.
Yeah. Well,
kind of, because they're so removed.
This concept here at this point, it's like,
yeah.
I was trying to grasp.
You got it.
But
you
still,
got it.
It's like a little, like, I was like, okay, wait. So this is not so old,
right.
It was just, I wanted clarification on that.
Sure.
Definitely.
No.
Like I said, once you start talking about cubism and stuff like that, I'm like, where does that land in the time frame of this?
Right. And now he's talking about that he had become familiar with all these papers and collections that his uncle had. This didn't jive with any of it. He's like, this certainly isn't new, but it's not anything I can identify from his other stuff. This is, he can't hit at what he says, the remotest affiliations. Like, he's like, I don't know what this is. This doesn't look like anything else. So, and then he goes further, and we'll let Howard take this too, because of how titanic this is.
Above these apparent hieroglyphics was a figure of evidently pictorial intent, though its impressionistic execution forbade a very clear idea of its nature. It seemed to be a sort of monster or symbol representing a monster of a form which only a diseased fancy could conceive. If I say that my somewhat extravagant imagination yielded simultaneous pictures of an octopus, a dragon, and a human caricature, I shall not be unfaithful to the spirit of the thing. A pulpy, tentacled head surmounted a grotesque and scaly body with rudimentary wings. But it was the general outline of the whole which made it most shockingly frightful. Behind the figure was a vague suggestion of a cyclopean architectural background.
So there's our first description of the big man.
Yeah, and also the word cyclopean used a lot in these three parts of this story.
Yes, so cyclopean refers to, so if you know the Cyclops from the Odyssey, he's a giant. The one that we see, he's a giant. Mm-hmm. So when they talk about cyclopean masonry, it means that the blocks that are used are enormous, almost to the point where who could lift these things? Only maybe a Cyclops could have. That's what cyclopean means. It's big, and the blocks that are used are huge. So cyclopean masonry, you think of the pyramids, or you think of some of the some South American things. Stonehenge could be one. Just anything constructed. If it's not constructed of neat small bricks, it's constructed of these huge pieces. So that's what we're talking about. So I like the way he kind of pulls out how he starts to talk about what this monster is, but it's not straightforward. It's not like, hey, this guy drew this monster with a I don't know, with an octopus head and some wings. It's like he did, but it's almost like a design, and at the same time there's something about it that it looks like you can see it, but at the same time you can't pin it down all the way. Like somehow when they made this, they were trying to say something more. Like it's here, but it's also, he can't fully explain it either. He gives you the components like he likes to do in other descriptions. Like, remember when we went back to the festival where he talks about those things that he flies on? He was like, oh, it's like a crow and a centipede and a rotted human corpse.
Yes.
He gives you these things to put into the cement mixer of your brain, and this is what comes out. So he gives us this, octopus, dragon, and human caricature. You're like, okay, I can kind of get that. But then it's more of like, I'm not being unfaithful to the spirit of the thing. Here it is, but I don't know what they were trying to go for here. And it's just weird, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
You know, you're digging through your dead uncle's house, and you find this box, and you think you found this porn stash, and it's like, oh no, it's even weirder.
Yeah. You're like, God, I wish this was porn. Oh, why couldn't this have just been porn?
So we get the first, this is the thing where, in the movie when he opens it, there'd be like the in the background when he's looking at this. And then he has this whole manuscript there, right? And it's in the professor's handwriting, and he has it divided into two other sections, right? We have first 1925 Dream and Dream Work of H.A. Wilcox, and then there's a second section, the narrative of Inspector John R. LaGrasse and Professor Webb's account. So we're going to save Inspector LaGrasse for the second episode, but today we're going to stick to Wilcox. So, Ken, on March 1st, 1925, a young sculptor named Henry Anthony Wilcox had come to Professor Angel with this bas-relief, we find. Wilcox was known in Providence for his eccentricities, as we always do. We've got this guy, right? We've encountered this guy before, right? His strange dreams and his isolation.
Played by Paul Rudd.
Yeah, Paul Rudd?
Yeah, young Paul Rudd.
Interesting.
The delicate way he handled things. Think him in Curse of Michael Myers.
Okay. All right.
A little bit over serious when he talks about stuff.
Right.
Weird shit in his eyes.
Does he look in the sky when he's saying stuff?
Yes. Yeah.
Eyes flung skyward.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, I wouldn't have gone that way myself, but that's not bad. Now I'm going to picture Paul Rudd doing these kinds of things.
I have Paul Rudd in my head from a movie I watched last night.
You have Paul Rudd in your head all the time.
Well, come on.
Yeah.
But no, I do think young Paul Rudd, because he has an ability to be like, what? I was like, oh, young artist. Like, I don't know why I see him just like baby faced.
We'll just pull him out when we get to him. So I was going to go with the guy from the Green Mile who plays Percy. The guy who stomps on the mouse.
Ooh, yeah, but see, he seems more sinister.
Yeah, but
as a person, he's just a more sinister person.
I know, but like that's why I would pick him, because he's been touched by it. Like, he was very imaginative and weird to begin with, but then he's been touched by this, and now it kind of put a touch of the cosmic dread into
I gotcha.
I know what you're saying, because I could use this guy for a lot of ones, but this one it just gave me like the look, like it could give you that look. That would give you that, like, this guy's seen some shit.
I got you. We could also go with the guy from Saving Private Ryan. we were just two. That guy from Seven too.
Oh yeah, I was
Get
actually
this thing off of me!
Yeah.
He's in Alien Resurrection.
Yeah, what's the fucking sign that?
Yeah, it's like
this guy has one role.
Yeah, freak out guy. Yeah.
Actually, that's good. I think we should go with that.
Okay, yeah, freak out.
And he said Cthulhu for
yeah. And we were just too heavy.
Yep. And what? Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
That works too. All three of those guys. We'll audition all three of them.
Yeah, there we go. And that's how we'll play it. Like I said, when we get to the characters, we'll
pull it out.
Yeah.
I like it. I actually was going to go with for our main guy, our Francis Wayland Thurston. I was going to go with our boy Egon Spengler.
Harold Ramis. I don't even want to
think about it being studious about it,
dude. Yes. I'm not even going to.
Right.
I'm not going to offer an alternative. Yes.
All right. So Harold Ramis is
or Dan Aykroyd. No, I'm just kidding.
Dan Aykroyd can be. We'll get to it. You know what? At the end, because we're doing this story all month, folks. So maybe in our big wrap up episode where we talk about a lot of things, themes, and other things.
We'll go back.
We'll put the full cast in, and we'll it'll be like the credits. This will be our the curtain call.
Yeah, we'll pitch him here, and then we'll solidify him at the end.
Yes. So Wilcox is a student at the Rhode Island School of Design, RISD. He lived alone and claimed to be psychically hypersensitive.
Do you think he was in school with Claire's brother?
Maybe. So anyone who's made the pilgrimage to Providence for any reason, whether you went for Necronomicon or you just decided to go see the Lovecraftian sites when you wanted to, this is one of the stops that you go to. It's called the Fleur-de-Lis House. I have pictures in front of it, quite a few. And this is where his studio is. Howard hated it. He said it was just disgusting. I think he even says it in the story that it's just like a cheap, imitation of some kind of like not Elizabethan style, but I forget what he called it, or Tudor style or something, because it's right next to this famous church, which is right there, and it's like it's an affront to nature that it's right there.
Dude, I keep forgetting. I spent like 4 days in Rhode Island back when I was like 24. I want to say 23. Me and my buddy went out and we stayed up with another buddy of mine. He lived in like a rural area, and then we went to a beach. Dude, I loved Rhode Island. Maybe the area I was at.
Yeah, it's nice.
You could see the star. Like, oh my god,
it's beautiful. Yeah.
I remember being like, this is where I would like to retire or move to one day.
Yeah, no, Rhode Island's great. We've got friends in Rhode Island. Shout out to John and Mikey. I know you guys are listening.
Yeah. That it's funny, that probably called out to me. That's what it was. When I was there. I was
here. You were still ignorant to the horrors.
Exactly.
You kind of picked up a little bit.
I was like,
hey man, it's great. And hopefully we get to visit there together for some Lovecraft nonsense.
Exactly.
So when he's asked where this artifact came from, Wilcox replies with, we got to let Howard read this. This is so much fun.
It is new indeed, for I made it last night in a dream of strange cities, and dreams are older than brooding Tyre or the contemplative Sphinx or garden-girdled Babylon.
So he's, already, the professor's like, ugh.
Yeah, oh no.
He's like, oh no.
He's like, oh god, Lord Dunsany?
Yeah. He's got a copy under his arm.
Yeah, he's like, oh.
So he made this thing, huh? And it's like, and he, Professor Angel knows it right away. But after a slight earthquake, which, according to him, affected his imagination profoundly, Wilcox had a dream of vast cyclopean cities. There it is again. Great blocks and sky-flung monoliths, dripping with green ooze. Strange writings covered the walls, and from beneath, hell yeah. And so we want to say ectoplasm instead of green ooze. But from beneath all of this, there was a terrible voice or sensation. Like it's a voice, but a sensation, and it's expressed as Cthulhu Fatagan. It's like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, and like is the translation of that the dead Cthulhu waits?
You just pumped the brakes, buddy.
Okay,
that's partial.
Okay, sorry. Because I gotta talk about that.
Oh yeah. No, that's not in this section of the story, but yeah.
Okay.
Let's let it unfold with the story.
Yes, sorry, excuse me.
No, you're excited. Hey, you're in an excited story.
I am.
It's good stuff.
So this is a different excitement. This is I feel like, we're all like, we're Josh Gates exploring stuff.
We are like archaeologists. I think the story, and it's fun. It's actually funny you bring that up, because I was going to bring that up later down the road, but we'll talk about it now. He structures this like you're going on like an archaeological day.
Right. That's what it feels like.
In a story, though. And it's like, yes, because the story is so nested, because I've talked about this in previous episodes. This story is nested, because you have a guy telling the story of a guy telling of a story of a guy teling a story at some point.
Yeah.
Whoa. And once you have a framing for it, you're fine, but it's like, the first time you're reading this, it is a little confusing, but we get that phrase, Cthulhu Fatagan, and as soon as he hears this come out of Wilcox's mouth, that phrase, it sparks something in Professor Angel, right? And he starts to question Wilcox like vigorously, right? And he's looking at the tablet, asks him about cults.
Did you put your name under the cover?
Yeah, did you put your name under the cover? Harry Potter! We're going to derail this whole thing.
Yeah.
So he studies the tablet. He's really into it now. Now it's not just, he doesn't think it's some kid coming to fuck with him. It's nothing like that. And now he asks him to come back. He's like, all right, come back and tell me about, these weird dreams that you're having. Okay.
Yeah.
So the sculptor begins to visit regularly each day, bringing new and these like really troubled dreams. Same kind of thing. The themes repeat. He's got these vast sunken cities, the monolithic horrors, and that same gibbering chant where you get Cthulhu and you also get this other word, Rilia. Now, at the top of the episode, we have that great, clip that I was talking about, and we get the idea of how to say, Cthulhu. No one's going to say Cthulhu that way every time. It's like, okay, that's fun, and that's, I'm sure that was his original intent. But now we just say Cthulhu. We don't bark it out at people.
Yeah,
Cthulhu. It's fun, but at the same time, it's like you start doing that shit. They're going to end this quick. Like, look, we can't have these Lovecraft nerds walking around with this bullshit. You just can't have it. Just can't do it.
Yeah, you get regarded the same way as what is it, Doctor Who fans, with their BS every time the TARDIS, you're like, oh god.
And the scarves and the whole thing.
Yeah, just stop.
Different. Yeah, we got to keep it on the down low because people can't handle this shit.
Be a little cool. Be a little cool about it.
So, and then there's the other term, which is Relia. That's the way I've always pronounced it. We have people that call it like relay or Ryla, and like there's all that. I go with Relia. That's the way that I'm going to, and that's the way that this podcast pronounces it.
Yeah, this isn't Legend of Zelda.
No. Come on. Relia sounds like an alien word to me, so that's what I go with. Because there's also someone else is like Arleia, and it's like maybe.
Those are all like New Age daughters' names. The other ones,
right? Yes, those are right. Those are the things you say when you're charging your crystals in the moonlight. I don't know. But then, Ken, March 23rd, Wilcox stops visiting. He'd fallen into this feverish delirium and was taken back to his family home out of the college. The professor, now fully obsessed with this situation, kept close watch. The attending physician, this Dr. Toby, this is also Christopher Lloyd, I don't know if you know, described strange ramblings from the patient's lips. And he's rambling about these visions of a colossal being miles high that walked and lumbered. And you're like, ooh.
Yeah. And the doctor's like, I've never heard anything like this before.
Yeah.
And I'm Dr. Toby.
But as this is going on, he's kind of in this weird like state, and it looks like he's in like a fever, but he doesn't have a high temperature. He's just kind of in this like trance like state, but it looks like he's having this fever. It's just so strange. But then just as suddenly as it came on April 2nd, Wilcox wakes up, apparently cured, and with no memory of like the ordeal.
Could you imagine the stuff they did to him to try to figure out what was wrong with him? Like,
yeah, they were doing all sorts of weird shit. They were like, hey, shoot him with cocaine. They used to do that like last decade.
Yeah. But I'm saying like, just thinking about the arcane kind of like medical procedures, they were like,
let's bleed him.
Yeah, right. How do we get him out of
leeches
this
on
coma?
him?
Yeah, how do we get him out of this coma? And then he just like wakes up and he's like, hey, I'm fine. And they're sawing his leg off. They're like,
but that's it. You gotta saw their legs off.
Yeah. This will wake him up. Saw his legs off, and then he wakes up and he's like, "I'm okay, guys. Where are my legs?"
He's like, "Why did you saw my legs off? Why am I here?"
You had the death fever. We had
Yep.
The moon. The moon fever.
Yeah. It's crazy, and just like that, he wakes up and no memory of the ordeal, like at all. And it's like he kind of remembers that he met, Professor Angel earlier on, but like there's all the Cthulhu stuff has just left his mind. He's like, I don't, if you say so. He's like, okay. And then he just, returns to his old life. No more dreams, no more nothing. And it's like it never happened. It's like this weird little like psychological affliction that just kind of came over him. And, but Professor Angel knows that there's more to it because there's something about that term, the Cthulhu Fatagan, that jogs his memory. Because there's something that happened years earlier, which we will get to. So because this is all happening, and he has that familiar word that he's hearing Cthulhu again. And he starts contacting his friends, colleagues, correspondents, all these people, and asking about their dreams. He gets a mixed result. Average people reported nothing. All right. Scientists, a few vague impressions, but artists and poets, oh boy.
Yeah. Yep. And I was like, I was reading this, and I was one of the things I was going to text you because, like, I was halfway through. I was going to be like, "So artists, huh?" But then, like, but then I started reading more, and I was just like, I don't feel like talking to anyone. There's a lot to deal with in this story, especially if it's the first time you're reading it. He's throwing, like you said when you texted me, there's a lot of jelly in these donuts. Yeah, right. It's really tough to like. there's like one thing I want to get to, but I don't know if I could, because that's the problem. Because like, okay, I know what the whole of the second part is, and I know what the whole of the third. So the second part, you get the kind of the inspector, the detective kind of guy. You get the crazy Colt, the gunfight.
Yep.
Then the third, you get the nautical adventure, which Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to fucking kill someone. This is amazing.
Oh yeah.
But I don't do that when I get excited. Sorry, I don't kill someone. I just want to. But no. Do we get to this is because they mentioned the part of March. Like, do we get to the full time frame of when this stuff happens to the people?
We're about to right now.
Okay, sorry.
No,
Why do I do that? Why do I
it's
do
fine.
that?
Hey, because you remember. I'm glad it tells you actually read this. Ken, did you do your homework for the podcast?
Yeah. No, just real estate school, Dad.
But on that point of artists and poets, right now we've in previous stories, and we talked about this, like From Beyond and Eric Zahn. What is that vector that causes people to be able to touch into the other side of this? Who are the people or types that can like kind of pierce this veil, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, I keep saying that because that band sucks. Sorry.
Okay.
They get to put their foot on the other side, right?
Yeah.
And in this one, all it really requires is that you be an artist or a poet. Now, there's long been the association of the artistic, creative, and the insane, right?
Yeah.
There's more. There's just it's just one more foot towards this way, and you're insane. So it's almost like it's not even almost like he's treating artists and poets and the creatives. They already have one foot in anyway. It's like in Constantine, right? The cats are great. They got one foot in, one foot out anyway.
Yeah.
That's kind of like what's going on here, and I love that because it's like, I mean, not just being an artist myself, and you're a creative too. It's already like you have an antenna that other people don't.
Yeah.
And when this stuff is happening, those are the people who are going to be affected. And Cthulhu, before his presence is even seen, he's known by these certain psychically sensitive types, and that's the creatives. So it's like, oh yeah. And if you take that from a metaphorical perspective as well, when anything crazy kind of happens in the world, who's the first to start talking about it? The creatives.
Yes.
You're just kind of tuned into it.
Also, too, creatives. It also kind of a lot of times have. I'm not saying this to. I don't know if this is a dickhead thing to say. You usually have higher IQs, if that makes sense, because you have to have a workaround, and it's kind of proven that a lot of times if you're artistic in a certain way, you tap into certain parts of your brain and you have abstract thought and you're able to think about concepts at a different level.
Yeah.
And like they also, high IQ people are more inclined to pick up on and also believe things that are more I don't want to say paranormal or supernatural, but more outside of the norm. Yeah, fantastical.
Sure.
Let's go with that. Because they're bored in the norm. If that makes sense. So your antenna being up because you want something that's a little this isn't waking up, having breakfast, going to work, or doing your thing, going
you're already
to bed,
looking
everything.
for it.
Exactly. Once you tractor beam to the strange, and you're more open
because
to
it makes it distracts us from the idea that everything is bland and shitty. It's like, hey, but there might be a monster that runs around the woods in Mississippi. It's like, oh shit,
everything towards that. Let's go towards that.
Let's go towards that. I don't want to hear about anything else.
Because I'm going to work.
What?
I'm going to work and pay bills and then die.
No, and that's totally Lovecraft, right? Because he's the guy that we just talked about the New York period. He could have got a job when he was there, but he's I'm a writer, and I want to write. I'm not going to go work in a shoe store or whatever he would have done there.
Who do you think you're dealing?
That would be a great sitcom. Lovecraft just working at a shoe store in 1920s New York City. Could you imagine that?
Yeah. Oh, that could be a great.
My wife is home.
Yeah. Internet cartoon. Like, oh man, that's a great idea.
Yeah. Constantly like alluding to the Necronomicon and like tentacled monsters, and people are just like, I just want shoes.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm going to go take my lunch break, and then like they look for him for he's only supposed to be taking a half hour. It's been 2, and they go in the back, and he's just writing with like his head down.
Yep.
And they're like, Howard, and he's just like pondering the madness that is nothing.
Feather quill pen.
Yeah. We just make it modern and it's him like that.
Sure.
Now.
I mean, hey, I'd be totally into it.
Oh my god.
Anyway.
Yeah, sorry guys.
No. I think we kind of stayed on track. But yes, the artists and the poets, the creatives that we call them today. So in this time period, and we're starting, he starts from February 28th to April 2nd. Many of them had nightmares. All right. Some of them echoed Wilcox almost perfectly. One architect went mad on the same night that Wilcox succumbed to that feverish state. And he died months later, screaming of a beast that had escaped from hell.
I mean, let's go.
Yeah. We also get a description of a gigantic thing, quote, miles high, which walked or lumbered about.
Could you imagine? I
like on a real scale? No.
Yeah, because I have that too. What is it? Megalophobia?
Submechanophobia?
I have submechanophobia, but it's also things that are way too big. Things that are like, I have that too. Something, and I remember being a child, and dreaming about like a boulder being just way too big.
Oh boy!
And looking at that and being like, this is terrifying.
Yep,
it's too big. Yeah, that's too big. I don't want
there's
it.
things that are outside the scale that they should be, where it becomes just dangerous being near it.
Right.
I think that echoes the same sentiment.
It's like, you're like looking at Galactus, like just like the concept of something miles.
Look, let's just for the record, Galactus compared to Cthulhu, pussy.
Sure.
Nothing. He's nothing to Cthulhu.
Right. Sure.
Especially in that new movie.
Yeah, I hadn't even seen it yet. Anyway, but like, yeah, right. We don't have to. You don't have to see it.
No, but, I'm anxious. I don't want to say.
Yeah. Stop touching it. But like, just thinking about something that scale is alone. Let's say it's even nice.
Yeah.
Let's say it comes. It's like, you guys want some pancakes? And you're like, oh, like.
Yeah, but I think that's the whole thing that he's saying. It's like, it doesn't matter. It's not going to be nice to us because we're so small that we could just be caught in its wake. Like you see those things where like whales are near a boat and they don't even know that you're there, and it just cracks the boat with the tail just because you're too close to it. Like that could happen just because it's so big.
Sorry.
Wouldn't even notice.
Yeah.
It's like, do you know how many ants you've stepped on in your life?
No.
No.
Certainly not. Certainly not, Jason.
Nope. Do you care what the ant was struggling with when you squished him?
Yeah.
You didn't even know he was there. That's what we're talking about here.
He's like, it's been really tough trying to start this family, trying to start this ant family, and here I come, just who's got another beer?
Exactly. So we've got all these the press clippings in the box, and this tells an even stranger story. And Professor Angel, they think he hired with a cutting bureau. I guess that was something that was available back in the day. Sure. I guess it was available to maybe other publications. They wanted to, it was their old, it was Reddit. It was their version of Reddit. It was an aggregate. But in all these clippings, Thurston found all these reports of global madness, and we have a fun little checklist coming up. So we have a man in London who hurled himself from a window after a terrible scream.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yep.
A South American fanatic proclaiming visions of apocalypse.
Love it. Yes.
A theosophist colony in California donning white robes for a promised event that never came. Oh, that's so California.
Yeah, I was going to say totally California.
They're still doing that now.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm loving what we're going with, we're stereotyping the land Mansons.
It's like, didn't Charles Manson do that same shit with Helter Skelter?
I at work, my old training manager, he was at the time of the rise of Scientology.
Okay.
He was one of their writers or book correctors. So like the book Battlefield Earth, he was one of the people that corrected and wrote and fixed L. Ron Hubbard's stuff. Not just editor, but they would also have spot writers that would come in and
interesting
and do things.
That whole story is way crazy,
right? But before that, he was in a cult.
Yes,
that was next to the property of the Mansons.
Wow!
So he knew all those guys.
Wow!
But he had a bunch of husbands and wives.
Yep.
And to what he would always say, had 12 husbands. None of us preferred the dick.
Whoa!
Actually said that, but he was sharing a property line, even though they were squatting, basically.
Yeah.
With the Manson family.
No shit.
Yeah, this guy
No.
Jim Godding was a legend. There will never be another guy like him. And when he passed, like, so yeah, they are doing that. We're doing that. And
Okay. All right. Well, maybe they were all members of a Cthulhu cult as well.
I'm sure they were. Another reason, because he was like, Cthulhu's there. I joined the Scientology. There we go.
Yep. We have unrest in India, as you do, an uptick of the voodoo rites in Haiti, tribal agitation in the Philippines. Then we have these hysterical mobs in New York. And then there's this. Yeah, all these are these are all now.
Yeah.
All of these are now. It's crazy.
He
and
might
then
be
we have
coming
this.
back.
He might be. And a blasphemous painting hung in Paris titled "Dream Landscape," which almost causes a riot.
Yeah, I would have been there.
Yeah.
I'd have been mopped off and it just, no.
Yep. And then there's so numerous are the recorded troubles in insane asylums at this time that he even says there's like a point that he makes that it's a miracle that the medical people didn't just quit, because during this certain period of time, things were just off the wall.
Yeah.
So you have the crazies and you have the creatives, and I guess the crazies and the creatives, because that would take care of the cult people.
Right.
All surrounding March 23rd. It's that surrounding time.
And it's but it kind of seems like the creatives are like a little better at handling it, especially if you're more creative.
Well, the creatives still have their sanity intact. So we're talking about the ones who are still working and still being able to be okay. But if you're at the funny farm, when this happened, you were it was going, it was
right. But
off
our Paul Rudd, the crazy guy from the other movies, he is able to just come out of it. Mm-hmm. But you have your architect who's creative, but it's very regimented.
Right.
You know what I mean?
He'd even say that the architects, there was a couple weird dreams from architects, because they're a little cut off. They're still in the world of,
linear. Yeah, exactly.
And
then
we're not in the.
Who was the other one too? There was the three there. There was it was a level of creatives. So it was the person who made the actual plaque survives, the architect, and then someone else, and they he died months later. He lived this long, and then another one. So
right.
I think he put it as how creative you are.
Oh yeah, the more creative you are, the more you are affected by whatever this is that's going on.
But you could also survive it. If you're more creative, you can kind of harness at the end.
Yeah, because you would be more used to these flights of fancy. I guess would be a good way to say it. You're not going to go insane, or just your life is not going to be completely shattered because you have a strange vision out of nowhere. It's
because you kind of are. Yeah, you kind of usually are having strange visions.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of where he puts it. And
I love that. I think that's so cool.
Yeah, no, and it's this very specific time, and it's well, something must have happened. Why were all these people doing this? But he reviews it all. Thurston's talking about it all, and he still remains skeptical though. And he writes that I can at this date scarcely envisage the callous rationalism with which I set them aside. But I was then convinced that young Wilcox had known of the older matters mentioned by the professor. So, at then he was still rational. He's saying, I can't believe that. At that point, I was just no, this is just a case study. He stumbled upon something really interesting, but can't be anything really more than that. And that brings us to the end of section 1.
Who are we casting as Thurston?
Greg Oliver Bonin.
Besides him, we already said he could play. He could play all.
No, I was thinking about that. I was going to go with, and I know I pulled from him for another story, but this is another one where I would go with Tim Robbins.
Okay.
He just kind of he's got that, I don't know, I put him in that time period, and I'm Tim Robbins would definitely pull this off. Think of him shuffling through the papers, Andy Dufresne style.
Yeah.
For some reason, whenever I think of the story, I think of Tim Robbins as Thurston. He's the guy who, you just see him, looking through with, the red, bleary-eyed, he's just what does this all mean? Cthulhu, what does that even mean?
Yeah, I could just be so obtuse. I guess we have to go with that, because now mine is just dumb.
Who'd you have?
I was thinking Quick and the Dead style Russell Crowe, with
That's
the long hair, shaved face,
That's not
kind of
bad.
just like younger, but like his kind of demeanor in that, like I think is he's super serious, kind of run down, but like also
No, I like that. I like that too. I think they
mix
could both
him
work.
with beautiful mind version. That's so great.
They're just writing on the glass the whole time.
Exactly.
What are you doing? I'm writing an algorithm for these birds. It's like, okay,
The
get him
baby's
out of
crying.
here.
The baby's crying, dude.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, but it's like, no.
Yeah.
He's like, but the secret agent. There's no secret agent.
Yeah, that scene was.
Oh, bonkers! I didn't see that coming the first time I saw it. I was only like 16 or 17.
Yeah,
I was like,
right.
what do you mean? There's no.
My aunt went to school with that real guy. Man.
Oh,
truly.
really?
Yeah.
No shit.
She's
That's-
like, that
that's
guy was
crazy.
nuts. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
So this is the end of part 1 of the Call of Cthulhu. But as you know, Ken, the dread only deepens from here. And in the next episode, we're going to delve into part 2, which is the tale of Inspector Lagras, where an ancient idol, a bayou raid, and a secret cult open the door to something unspeakable.
Yeah, this first one, it's really good, right? This first section, it's setting it up, like you're digging through crates, man. You're figuring
It
stuff
sets it up
out.
perfectly too, because I've read the story. I can't tell you how many times, and I see the plot points. I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, he sets it up right there. Boom, boom. Because I'm mentioning this now because there are great misunderstandings of the story, and I don't understand how they get so misunderstood. It's like it's very clearly laid out here, and I don't want to get to it until we get to the story parts. But I love the build on this. I love that you get to see Cthulhu's. I mean, this isn't a spoiler, but you get to see Cthulhu's like effects before you ever get to see even the hint of a tentacle. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's, and I think I mentioned this before, that like the effects of these entities are like radiation. Like you, as they get closer, like the sanity shattering stuff starts. Like they're coming, especially Cthulhu, because people like the sensitive ones, they're like, something's coming, and like it's such, the entity that he is such a tremendous thing that like even his coming is just like it people can't handle it. It's wild.
Yeah. Well, see, and this won't be a spoiler because anyone that's listening.
When I said coming, I mean him like, coming closer. I don't mean his,
sure
vinegar strokes.
Sure thing.
So, wait, this is the free episode. I got to keep it clean.
Yeah, right. But no, so anyone that's listening to this, so this isn't a spoiler. I love how this is, your intro with these are the characters, that this is the cause of why we're learning anything about this, right?
Yeah.
We know about this because of the dude's uncle and the guy telling us the story, right? And then these things are happening here and here. Second part, you get like an investigation into like the one thing, like a specific. You're on the ground level. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like and I love that you're like infiltration into one of these things that is happening. Not without going too much into it.
Yeah.
And then the third one, it's like an encounter with the thing.
Yeah.
So
no,
like
it builds.
Yeah, it's so cool, and it's way, way, way different than I thought it was going to be, and I it's almost like the first trilogy of Star Wars, because part 2 is kind of Empire. It's kind of like the best one in a way. I think
it's brutal.
Yeah, exactly, but like you're on this ground level, and it's dark, and like it's like. Whew. Yeah, so that's what's coming next, and then the third one, it's you get the giant monster. The third one's Return of the Jedi.
Yes.
But
and also that's where the misunderstandings come in with some stuff, and I can't wait to get to that.
Yeah, is that me misunderstanding?
No. We'll talk about it when we get to it.
Sure.
But I also gotta love. Obviously, he couldn't have known, but like, I love that there's almost like video game design in this story, where it's like, oh, I'm going to alter the environments. First, we're going to have the New England city, then we're going to have the bayou, then we're going to have the city. It's like the sunken city, raised to the surface. So it's like. It's globetrotting, and it's so good. And then you have then you have the whole, the third. I mean, obviously, the third section is amazing, and it really pulls it together and brings the scope like much larger. But you gotta love that, old Howard was just some guy, and like he was just came back from New York probably with his head down. I mean, yes, he was probably yes, he was very happy to come back to Providence, but I'm
Yeah.
sure he was like, now what? And then he spins this monumental piece of fiction.
Right, and you're saying too, like, that it's globetrotting, and like the first story sets a scene. The second and third part, you could literally airdrop Leon Kennedy into both of these. You know what I mean?
Let's do that, actually.
I would
Leon
love
Kennedy, this is the part where he's researching all the documents. You know the part in the game where you're like, oh, I got to pick up all these documents and read.
Yeah.
You got to flip the back.
Yeah,
You got to look.
exactly.
Is there anything on the back? Oh, there's a weird tentacle drawing on the back.
You pull the piece off of it that's going to go somewhere later.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's like the second part of this is Resident Evil 4, and even the third part's Resident Evil 4 because but like I get what you're saying with the game design. It's
wonderfully designed.
And I love that. Like the first part is just like, this is what this is causing. This entity being near, and you don't even know. You just hear the name and you hear that other saying.
Yeah, it's a wonderfully executed way to show you how great and terrible an entity or creature is, because like I said earlier, it's not even there and it's already inspiring madness. What's it going to be like when we see it? It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Like that's literary device. It's wonderful. And I think it's that's why we're talking about it. He's got so many great ideas in here. And you already, we kind of had all these elements building, right?
Yeah.
I mean, even the part with the ships and the weird stuff, and it's like, oh, that's why I had to sit through that stuff in Red Hook. Why that weird, like, he's like, you know what? I like ships. And he even uses steamer ships. He's like, you know what? Let's do this again, but better.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, you're like, he's working it out. And it's like, like all that stuff that we've had before. It's just, it got us. It was like, his tail's between his legs, his head's down, and he's like, what can I do? And he puts together all the stuff that he's been working on, like all the things, like, and then it's just, here we go. Okay. Yeah. Here's our lore now.
Yes.
This is core lore.
Yep.
Here it is. This is the big bad.
Yep.
And here's what it does. And then it's genius because, like you said, he wasn't intentionally trying to do this. But now you have, it must be near because this person acts like this. Like, this could be, for me, I'm like, is this the old man in the house? Is this like a cousin that, like all these, are these all the causes of these fucking weirdos?
Because this is just audio. You can't see Ken. He's turning into Charlie Day, and that's how I know he liked the story, because his arms are all over the place.
And I'm moving around. I'm sliding in my chair.
Yeah. It's, I mean, there's more to it, and there's other entities and creatures that's going to build on this cosmology, which is amazing. There's so many great things coming up. But what also goes along with it is what he's kind of done earlier as well. He'll show you some of it, but he's never going to fully chart it out. You're not going to go on there. It's like, people have done that since and after the fact, but like, you're not going to sit down and be like, oh, here's a cosmology of all the old ones. People have certainly done it, but he never did.
Yeah.
Like, the vagueness is what's great, and because of the vagueness, you want to fill in the details. Like, oh, well, maybe this is this, and this has been like a century of fans filling in this stuff because they're like, oh man, maybe he meant this. And it's like, oh, maybe, but that's the great part about his stuff, is that he left some of it vague and let other creatives come in, and because he loved that. He loved people using his stuff. He's like, no, he would tell people to run with it. He's like, yes, go ahead and use my stuff. Case in point, him and Robert E. Howard, the creator of Conan, they used each other's creations all the time. So
that's cool.
It's and he did it with other writers, and we'll get to it at some point. But
cut to like him like putting a shoe on and being like, I never gave a name and of all my creatures and everything. The guy's like, do you have that in a 10? And he's like, I have to go right.
So even to the degree that back to Robert E. Howard just for a minute, their worlds exist together. So if you're reading
and
or
that's
watching,
like canonical, like they said,
it's 100% canonical.
Sick.
So when if you go today, right, if we stop and you go watch Conan the Barbarian, in that world, Cthulhu is sleeping in Relia.
See, now, like, I never knew why. Like, I think you said something to me about Conan before. Now I know that is like Lovecraftian.
Yes. So then you can even then your brain starts to fill in the details a little bit, but of your own headcanon. Obviously, the people making the film didn't really know that, but then like the part where he's like fighting in that like little gladiator ring, there's those monster faces. Like, oh, is that a deep one? Oh, is that an elder thing? Like, and we'll get to those. We haven't got to those yet, but it's like it just opens up it just opens up these worlds. But yeah, that is canonical. That Robert E. Howard's world, the Hyperborean world, is in the same universe, same everything as Lovecraft's Cthulhu mythos.
Well, now we know that the podcast can go on much longer.
We can try. They're very litigious. I've actually been thinking about that. I think we can. I would definitely. I mean, we're definitely, folks. I mean, with a little peek behind the curtain, Lovecraft stories don't go on forever. I mean, there's only so many left. We will definitely do some Howard stories. We're definitely going to do some other mythos authors. We'll probably get to Poe. We're going to do a bunch of great stuff, but we're always going to keep it Lovecraft flavored, though, because that's.
And then we'll start from the beginning again. I
don't know what we'll do.
We'll just
start from the beginning.
We'll just hold hands and drive off a cliff. Picture of us on the dash
into the peace and safety of a new dark age.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah.
But as Ken mentioned at the beginning, I think we'll let Howard give us one last quote at the end of this episode here.
That is not dead, which can eternal lie, and with strange aeons, even death may die.
All right, folks, so that was this month's free episode, and we'll be continuing the coverage of the Call of Cthulhu over on Patreon. And folks, we would absolutely love if you would join us over there.
Come on.
We're having a good time. Ask some of our other patrons.
Yeah.
And to those folks, our existing patrons, we love you all. We really do. So once again, we find ourselves lingering on the edge of the abyss that Lovecraft so masterfully presents. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Learning Lovecraft. I've been Jason McKittrick.
And I've been Ken James.
And we'll see you beyond the Wall of Sleep.